Welcome back to the Mages and Sages podcast. We're continuing our series here with Eric Menge and the Old Mage as they talk lore in the Moonshaes and more. I hope you enjoy.
I find it curious to see whether or not House Kendrick survives. And whether or not, because...
I have a question for you, Eric. House Kendrick, are there any secret long-lost branches of House Kendrick?
Of course.
Aha! There we go! So, the answer to that, will it survive? Obviously, yes. But it may not know it survived. Nobody else may know it survived.
Well, one place you could go with that is... The first one that came to mind was there's this curious castle. I forget the name of I think it's off the Isle of Oman. I forget the name of the inland sea in the Moonshaes.
Sea of Moonshaes.
Caer Callison or something. I forget which one it is that rises up from the depths. And one thing you could do is, presumably it has a bunch of crypts of some sort. And you can have an early branch of the ruling house of the Moonshaes maybe trapped within that... if you want them to be undead, they could be, or if you want them to be in stasis and suddenly emerge, that actually would make it more complicated if you had someone with a legitimate claim that's not all bad, like a lich, but is, superficially looks like an alternative.
Right.
And they start making a claim maybe to the Western Moonshaes, and you start having a division between the two. You could have a lot of fun with that.
You could. We've already touched on Caer Allison because it's the burial place for Queen Allison, who is the wife of Kimra Q. And she kind of acts as like the lady in the lake, the figure in Doug's books. But he also mentions several times, back when Tristan was being crowned, was how many different houses there were that were descendants of Kimra Q. And all the different varieties of names he has. So when you have a country or a set of islands like the Moonshaes, there's going to be a lot of people are like distaff branches, forgotten branches, ones that were bastard branches. And the question then becomes is, should they rule? Do they get to rule just because they're Kendrick?
Yeah. And that's something I had to leave alone in Halls of the High King. Because Doug was at that point contemplating writing a second trilogy. So I was just staying away from all that. So there's almost nothing about that in Halls of the High King. I was like leaving alone because I had no idea what an in-house staff designer might do. Because I knew he didn't know. Because he was going to cram it in between other projects, and everybody had a heavy workload. And so there's none of that to either point the way or tie your hands in Halls of the High King. That's all just not in there. Which means
a shame.
You have carte blanche.
Ooh. Do you hear that, Eric?
Oh, my favorite kind of cart.
Yes! No, my favorite is the doily cart. Everything's right in the doily cart.
Everything's right in the doily cart. There you go.
All the desserts.
I was going to say, I'm afraid to ask. This sounds like a setup.
No. Well, let's lead us to our next question here.
All right.
Remember the questions we had? That's right.
Is this a question interview?
Are any of them ever just a question interview, Eric? No. Oh, I just heard from George. He's still stuck at his son's soccer game, and it's not even halftime, so he's not going to make it.
Okay.
So he'll be around for the next one. I know. Yeah, he's not working on Eric's project. He's out.
Well, you see, in a soccer game, they have to kick a ball around.
Yeah.
And that means they have to find someone to behead to get the ball.
That's right.
And if the person can run fast, then the game starts late.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, he does have a phone, which means he does have Zoom, but I'm not going to say that.
I don't know if that'll work out as well as you're hoping.
True. Okay, so what most intrigues or grabs you about the realms?
how everything has a story.
The land of 1,000 stories, as Ed put it.
Yep.
Yes, everything has a story. Every town has a story. Every village has a story. Whichever direction you go, you can find adventures and you can find stories. And they overlap and they intersect and they part and then they can weave back together again. It's this glorious mess that is, you can pick which paths you want to follow, either as the player or as your DM. There is no dead spots in the Forgotten Realms.
And that's what I like about it too. Is not Freud said that sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, but not in the realms. The cigar is a mimic. And it'll eat your lips
Oh,
out.
is that what we're calling it these days?
So that's what we're calling it these days. But it's everything has a story. The Shoeshine boy, who was actually a high level wizard. We talked about this on one of the other podcasts that Shoeshine boy you're kicking may be higher level than you, so you probably shouldn't kick him. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a history. Everybody has something intriguing to tell. And I think that's wonderful. That's what I really enjoyed about the realms myself. Is Ed's whole thing? It's a land of 1,000 stories,
which you can hear if you're not careful.
That's right. That's right.
It comes through in every different path, and all the different books, all the different settings, all the different adventures. It all comes through that there are so many stories to be told in the realms,
and that's why TSR bought the realms.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted a world, a setting that could host all these different styles of play. Because they had Desert of Desolation with pyramids. They had this list: Arctic adventures, Arabian adventures, jungle adventures, Oriental adventures. Which became Oriental adventures. They wanted to be able to stuff everything into one world, and the world they had up until then, Dragonlance, to replace Greyhawk, had a Tolkien-style big battle between good and evil, for the world. And what do you do post that battle? It's a bit of an anticlimax. It's a one big epic story, which is great for fiction, not so good for a world. So they bought the setting purely because it was the land of 1,000 stories. Mm-hmm. That's why we all got to see the realms, as opposed to just me and my players. Because of that, and I think it's the strength of the setting, is that you can endlessly renew it, and to use the Zen thing, the interconnectedness of all things. Because there's so many stories, everything's interconnected, and it just lends itself to intrigue and conspiracy, and not necessarily sinister ones, By intrigue and conspiracy, I could mean that these three merchants in this small village agree to bulk buy to get lower prices. That's a conspiracy. It's not an evil conspiracy. It's just a conspiracy. So there are all these things that are interconnected. So if you kick that Shoeshine boy, he's somebody's son, but he's also the errand fetch boy for this business. And now the guy who runs that business, who's too old to climb up all the shelves to get the shoes that are up on the top shelf, is now pissed off at you because you just took out his shelf climber.
Right.
Stuff like that.
It's like messing with the mob almost.
Yeah.
But I always find that's an interesting way to look at like novels and fantasy settings. Is there are certain, so this is a weird test for a novel, but how many characters are not, how many characters are even mentioned? Like either have a name or a description or anything that aren't like core to the story, right? There's a whole lot of novels that I've read where literally it feels like there are 7 people on this planet. Yes, the bad guy's going to win and destroy everything, but there are 7 people on the planet. It's kind of like I remember watching He-Man when I was a kid, that terrible TV cartoon. And there were literally 5 good guys and 3 bad guys, and that's it. And that was it. I used to watch those episodes looking for another character. There were none. Right? The 3 bad guys would be doing something nefarious, and the 5 good guys would win, and then they'd say, "Go away, and tomorrow come back and do it again." But there were no no people. And if you think of how Ed describes it, there are a lot of fantasy worlds where people are like, well, there can't be any other adventures because somehow that would steal the glory. And it's like, No, it's a rich setting when there are thousands of adventurers and you have no idea the trio of Hin at the next table are doing, because they may well be also saving the world concurrently.
Right, right. Well, it's like there was a story Ed wrote, and I think it was. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Ed. It may have been Elminster at the Mage Fair or another scene. And there was one scene. It was a one paragraph. It was probably 3 or 4 lines, if that much. And there was Elminster let off this huge spell, or somebody did, and it flashes to a mage sitting at a table writing, and he just looks up and goes, "Somewhere someone wields great magic," and then goes back down to writing again. It's like, and you never hear from him again. Yep. Okay, that's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff I love. I'm not sure which. You remember which story that was?
Yep. But guess what? Here's the thing: never blame the writer for having too small a cast.
Right.
Because many editors will edit out or order the writer to take out stuff. Like, for instance, in Spellfire, every time they killed a guard, I told you who his wife and kids were and how they were. And the editor took that right out. Because, you see, I didn't want foot soldiers. I wanted to take every trope of fantasy. There are all these things that I knew they were going to take out. Like, in Spellfire, Chandrill's the only female character traveling with this band of guys. She's also the one with all the power that all the bad guys want. So I figured, okay, she's a teenage girl. She's traveling with all these guys. When she has to relieve herself, she's going to go off into the bushes, not squat in front of them. So when are the bad guys going to attack? The moment she's off by herself.
Right.
And I wrote a scene. I wrote several, but one of them is, she's in the bramble bushes, and the Zents attack, and they're going, "Chandrill!" And she's going, "In a minute!" Chandrill, "Yeah, I'll be right there!" And of course, I knew they were going to take that out, okay? Because, this is a book for young kids. No toilet humor, thank you very much. But, I mean, I was playing with all the tropes, and one of the tropes that I played with was there were no spear carriers. Everybody got their wife, kids, and history.
Right.
I didn't stop for an info dump, but they all got treated the same. I didn't treat the bit characters any different than the main characters. They hated that. And time and time again, you will hear TSR editors back in the day saying, this story's getting too shrubby. Meaning, got branches off in all directions. Chop them off. Prune it.
I think Jeff Grubb who said that, wasn't it?
Yeah, but all the book editors would say the same thing. And they're right from the point of view of what sells as popular action-adventure fiction. But that's not the Realms. The Realms should have everything in it. And what you were talking about with that wizard at the table, I actually wrote a never published by TSR early Realms story because Jeff said, "Show us the Realms." Thank you, Eric. Jeff said, "Show us the Realms" at the beginning. So I did a story I called Meanwhile. And I start out with Elminster just making a castle fall down. Just boom. Meanwhile. And then
in the Realms.
I jumped to Vangerderhast, training a bunch of wizards, war wizards, in something in Cormyr. Meanwhile, I jumped to Waterdeep. Meanwhile, and I jumped all over the place, and they said, "Did anyone ever tell you could write stories?" Because they were wrong.
Oh my God!
because they didn't like the structure, but I was deliberately saying this is the Realms, but this over here is the Realms. But this over here is also the Realms, and it was sort of like one of those montages. In the really old days, you guys, I don't know how old any of us are here, but the early beginnings of National Geographic on television, and they would take you all over the planet from the jungle to the Arctic. Bing, 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 in the opening montage. I was trying to do that in the Realms, saying, this is the Realms, this is also the Realms. Under the sea, on top of this pyramid, on top of this icy mountain.
In the back room.
Yeah, all this stuff. And they were going, yeah, but that's not storytelling. Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's just not
Are you
simple,
kidding? I
linear
loved programming like that when I was a kid. I loved it.
No, well, see, but you eventually did kind of write that with Elminster in Hell.
Yes.
So you did get your chance to write it.
Well, you see, that's what happens when they say, "Hey, Ed, we need a book." Okay. When do you need it by? Oh, you can have 3 weeks for this one.
Ooh, that's a long time.
Meanwhile,
that's time for the meanwhile. Yeah. That's time for 2 rewrites. Are you kidding?
So you grab everything that's lying around and you go, oh, this is, I like this, jump. I like this, jump. Well, it's like making stew when you're told to use up all your leftovers in the kitchen.
Right.
You better use those meatballs before they go bad.
Wow.
Better use this thing. So you start chopping and throwing in and stirring, chopping and throwing in and stirring.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. Except I was doing it in my head as I drove 100 miles along the Canadian version of an interstate to work every day and home.
Right. That's how you wrote your book,
yeah. Yeah, I bounce off the occasional car while I was thinking about it. No.
Well, that's what I like about Elminster in Hell is you got all these bits and pieces you never got to see in the realms. That's all the stuff that's just around the corner or what's happening next door or like you said, meanwhile.
Do you remember that series from very long ago? It got shown in Canada. It got shown in history classes. I don't know if it did in the United States. It's called You Are There.
No.
And they had a modern TV host interviewing an actor pretending to be Julius Caesar or Adolf Hitler or
I think I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was called You Are There, and the guy would interview him. So why did you invade? They asked Napoleon, why did you start that war? And I thought, okay, I can use this as a You Are There.
Right.
I can show you this. Maybe here's my chance to show you a Helrua. Here's my chance to show you a noble family or a wannabe noble family in Sembia. Here's a debauched revel in the middle of a Waterdavian mansion. Just bing, 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 take you all these places. You are there. You get to see this because it might be my only chance to portray that in Realms fiction.
Oh,
and a dungeon master can use that, saying, okay, now we're finally going to Luskan, or we're finally going to Silvery Moon. Somebody wrote, oh yeah, Ed wrote about Silvery Moon in this thing. I'll just take this, read it. It's only 3 paragraphs long. Good. I got a snapshot. I can run with Silvery Moon now.
I just had an idea of a great podcast.
Uh-oh. I mean, yes. Great.
You were there. Think about it. Guy going around and interviewing people at just at certain times. That would be, oh my God. Why Vegerdas? Why did you...
So, we're about to execute you. Why do you think you...
I love this idea. I tell you should do it.
I'm serious. I think it would be a great idea. I think it really good because we could actually do it, do the voices and set it up, and I think it would be, that would be great. Ed, you'd have to write the script for it.
And here's another fine mess you've gotten us all into. Yeah. Thank you.
It's your mouth, not mine.
And I do all the halflings. I want to do the halflings. All the hand, we're here.
Oh, it's good.
Oh my God! Why do they sound like that?
I don't know. I decided that for some reason. The hen and the Delimbier all sounded like this when they talked.
Okay.
I don't know why. It just stuck.
There's something that's like 8-year-old.
I don't know. There should be a Scrooge McDuck halfling in there.
Oh, you can do Scrooge McDuck in the same voice. Let me tell you.
Oh my God! That is
so good.
Great. I think I had a second part of that question.
No, before you move on, I got something for you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, when you were mentioning all the characters,
right.
Can you share screens for a sec? With Moonshaes, we have a lot of NPCs. Lot of NPCs. And I'll just do a quick little screenshot to show you. We're up to about over 100 pages of them. We have 100 pages with 2 NPCs, one in each column, of all the NPCs you run into the Moonshaes, because the supporting characters seem to be so important. And we were able to get Viv and Veronica and Sarah Shaw and Matt Morrow to do illustrations for us for all of our NPCs.
Oh, wow.
So instead of illustrating all of the combat scenes that we were doing, we decided to spend all of our budget on getting the NPCs illustrated.
Nothing wrong with that.
Because that seemed to be the important part, because whenever players say, and you meet this person, boom, and you can show the picture, you get 1,000 words of description right there. And they're really good at, I wish I could share it with you. I will have to send it to you some other way. We believe really strongly in that bit about the story. Everyone has a story. And we felt that having a really strong background, NPCs supporting, and we wanted to have players meet them again and again and again, so that they get to know them. And then that familiarity builds up this sense of community and this sense of, I actually want to protect the Moonshaes because I like these people. I've had interactions with them. I've drunk beers with them, will probably be.
Right.
Or hard ciders and some Moonshaes, or various rare bit cheese over bread, roofed over toast. There it goes. I didn't get an error.
Perfect. Okay, so
Incoming.
Oh man,
I hope it was worth the wait.
it is. Oh my god, that's so great. Let me see if I can share it with these guys too. Now I'll put it in the. You know what, guys? I'll share this in the in our Facebook doohickey.
I'm glad we've mastered the tech.
Right. We have. It's called doohickey. You didn't know that?
Yeah, I discuss my doohickey on occasion with my doctor.
Yeah, we are up to about slightly over 100 pages with 2 NPCs per page, so 200 of these guys have shown, or the guys and gals have shown up.
Which makes it a campaign resource for anything, even not set in the Moonshaes.
Yes.
That many NPCs. Yes, nice.
Once we get done, we were thinking about that. Like, would you like 200 NPCs ready to go with art? Boom.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Oh, I was active in this channel. I could have put it over here.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
There, have another.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice.
Those are really nice.
Yeah, those are.
So
Where do
book
I
is
see
it?
this thing?
It's on Facebook.
Facebook under instant message. You should have an instant message pop up.
Which book is this in again, Eric?
It's in our
Nice.
Dramatis Personae Omnibus for the Moonshaes. So it's not published yet.
You should definitely publish it. This looks great.
So this is our
That's great. Yeah.
our background for all the characters that we have.
Oh, there's another one. Oh, there you
These
go.
are really, really cool. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to this now.
Baron Rustfire. Of course, he's a dwarf merchant. Look at him.
Oh yeah, he's a sassy dwarf merchant.
And he's a shield dwarf. I love it.
Can he really be a dwarf if his guts are on the inside?
Oh man.
We'll find out tomorrow night, Eric.
So, for those who are wondering, one of the 3 infamous dwarves in the campaign that I'm currently running, he normally dies once a session.
At least.
His average is trending up.
Oh, my favorite was he got hit twice in that last session, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's like we fight and then drag Grim. We fight and we drag Grim.
Eric, it is not too late to deploy the donkey.
That's right.
So, for those who don't know,
Right, I'm now flooding your inbox now.
Oh, keep it coming. I love it. These are great.
So, for those who don't know, back in graduate school, I played this infamous dungeon known as Halls of the High King. No, not Halls of the High King. Sorry, Haunted Halls of Evening Star. Thank you.
Yes.
And this 32-page campaign setting lasted. It was supposed to be a module, but lasted my group for like 4 to 5 years. I was a little too tough. I'll just be honest about that.
No, you? No.
And so there were many game sessions that ended up with you wake up in the Temple of Lathander because the mule dragged. You don't have any gold because the mule exchanged it for resurrection. There were a lot of sessions like that. Of course, this has kind of backfired on me because I now have a kid who likes D&D, and I'm running a campaign for my son and my nephews, and I have told them this story one too many times. They now have Bill the Pony, who they are now starting a cult around. So you tell stories, and then they use it against you.
Of course. Isn't that what kids usually do?
Exactly.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
I'm not sure what the question was, though, Jeff.
There wasn't a question. I think Kirk said something about time to bring out the mule.
Oh, there you go. That sounded like a question.
That was my aside, by the way, Jeff. I wanted to send all those to you guys.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Those
you.
are really incredible.
We're going to have to pack all this up into people of the Moonshaes or some NPCs. We'll put something together to make it readily available for everyone.
You've already got like a quarter or a third of a supplement right there.
Oh, that was a fraction. So many dang things.
I mean, if you expand on them a little bit, background and stuff, you got some really cool characters here.
These are very well done. I'm
They
looking
are.
forward to this, Eric.
Aviv is amazing. So is Veronica and Sarah and Matt. They are all incredible artists. It was a good use of the money.
Nice.
Good use of our budget.
How
Also,
much-
for some reason, probably stemming from my days back of reading these books, I have a soft spot for black and white line art.
Of course. That's back in the days of Jeff D.
Mhm.
Yep.
Easier to print, too. So much cheaper to print.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. I found that out with just making T-shirts. We did T-shirts for the podcast for Gen Con 2 years ago, and last year. Curry, was it last year? Last year, and even just the white on black was still like $16, $17 a shirt. We still spent probably $450 on T-shirts. Just in print like that. And I tried to add a color, and it made it astronomical. But I can't even imagine what paper print does, especially in mass production.
Yeah, well, because you've got multiple registers. And as we all remember when we had comics that one plate had been out of register.
Right.
Reds or whatever,
Do you remember this?
Yes, Rogues Gallery.
Yes, right. Yeah, the Rogues Gallery.
Rogues Gallery of the Moonshaes.
There you go. I love that old art. I'm so unhappy they went away from all that.
I'm a big fan of Valerie Valasek.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And her stuff that she did for all the Volo's guides or holding down the bookcase over there to keep it from drifting away.
I have one or two prints that I bought from her at a Gen Con. Just because, I have to have some VV.
Right.
I think I have a couple of her prints as well. I have to go check.
We're supposed to give once they get a break from Moonshaes, is going to work with Teo Sabadia. I don't know if you know him.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We're going to do ice treks, which would be kind of like the old dungeon side treks.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do a bunch of snow-themed mini encounters because of the Rite of the Frost Maiden coming out.
Oh, nice.
Jungle Treks
Nice.
a while back,
Yeah.
which was all set in pseudo-Chult. It could be Chult anywhere you wanted it to be, but they were like quick little one-shot, one-night adventures. Because I always enjoyed those in the Dungeon magazine.
Oh, those are great.
Little encounter drop in.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And
yeah.
I have just been working with Steve Fiddler on the Amaroon's almanacs, and those are all biomes like deserts, jungles, coasts, and we've done Arctics. So,
DM's Guild at one point, hopefully.
yes. Oh yeah, they're all up there now. Amaroon's
are they?
almanac. Yeah. Mhm.
I'll have to look it up. I didn't know
Amaroon
that.
White Wave, the granddaughter of Elminster. Or great-granddaughter, or great-great-granddaughter, or
Great.
who knows.
Well, it's been how long now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Elminster's great-great-granddaughter. That should be very interesting to find out about. Well, we hope that you enjoyed this episode of Mages and Sages, interview with the old mage with Eric Menge. Stay tuned. We have another episode coming up. That'll be the final part of our interview with Eric. Don't forget to like our page here on YouTube. Ring the bell so you can be updated when we put in new videos. And don't forget to go to Fans of Ed Greenwood on Facebook and like our page there as well. We do have lots of contests and giveaways, so please don't miss out. And until then, keep playing in the realms.